Welcome back, 7th and 8th grade. It's Friday, April 24th, and you have now survived another week of remote learning. And we are going to be wrapping up lesson 5.3.4 on the senses, which is our last section for this unit, for Unit 5, Chapter 3. So at this time, I would like you to get out your lesson review questions 5.34 on the senses that you completed for homework from the previous video. And I'm going to go over the answers to those. So feel free to pause and go back. I'm going to read through them fairly quickly, but just make sure that you have the right answers so that you're prepared to take your test at the end of this unit. All right, so number 1 says, explain how the eyes see objects. The answer is that light rays travel from an object through the cornea, the pupil, and the lens, changing orientation and converging at the point called the focal point. That's that back point. The rays create an upside down image on the retina, and remember it's also backwards, left, and right. The rod and cone cells on the retina send electrical impulses through the optic nerve all the way to your brain. And the brain then makes sense of the messages, and you see the world right side up. All right, number 2. How does the ear hear sounds? Okay, sound waves travel through the outer ear to the tympanic membrane, also known as your eardrum, and it vibrates. And the vibrating eardrum makes a series of tiny bones, those ossicles in your ear, vibrate. And remember, those ossicles are located in your middle ear. The vibrations produce waves inside what's called the cochlea. Neurons in your brain convert the waves into electrical signals, which they send to the brain. And the brain then interprets those signals as sound, and we are able to hear. Number 3, how does the body sense smell? Neurons inside your nose send messages through the olfactory nerve to the brain. Remember, you have those tiny microscopic holes in your sinuses that allow those chemicals in the air to reach the axon terminals in your brain of the neurons so you can transmit that signal and you can smell things. Number 4, how does the body sense taste? The papillae on the tongue contain a taste bud, or actually, they contain multiple taste buds, which are grouped together around taste pores located in various regions on your tongue. Those chemicals dissolved in your saliva enter into the taste pores and send signals to nearby nerves, which then send the taste message to your brain. And number 5, name the 5 basic tastes. So that would be the bitter, sweet, salty, and the umami flavor. Okay. Go ahead now and pause and take out your eyes and ears workshop. The first thing we're looking at here is from worksheet 5.3.4a. And this is the image of the eye that you should have labeled. Please make sure that you have checked to label the retina, optic nerve, lens, cornea, pupil, and iris correctly on your image, and that you are familiar with the order in which these occur. And the lower half of your worksheet was to label the outer, middle, inner ear, as well as the tympanic membrane, ear canal, anvil, hammer, stirrup, eustachian tube, cochlea, and semicircular canals. And so please check to make sure you have gotten these correct. Your ear canal in the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. Okay, you've got your 3 bones in there, the ossicles, as well as the tympanic membrane or eardrum. Your eustachian tube, remember that connects to your throat and your ears, your cochlea, and your semicircular canals. So make sure that you have that correct and you understand that moving forward. And as I said at the beginning of this video, we have reached the end of Unit 5, Chapter 3, and we've completed sections 5.3.1 through 5.3.4. So we covered the skeletal system, the muscular system, the nervous system, and the senses. We covered a lot over the last few weeks here of remote learning. Okay, and I fully understand that the human body can be very complex and tricky, and so make sure that you are not also underestimating the content of this material. You always now will have the video lessons available on YouTube if you need to go back. And I'm of course available to answer any additional questions that you have leading into your test. And so speaking of your test, we're going to do this a little bit differently, and I mentioned this for those of you who joined me on a Zoom call in the past, but I have taken what would normally be your typical written test, like the one you completed earlier when we started remote teaching, and I've inputted a majority of those questions, but not all of them, into a digital version through this company called Classmarker. And so this test is actually going to be released today, and so you're going to need to check your email if you have not done so already, and you will have this link in your email. And this is a personalized link for you. And so you will need to click the link and complete the test. And so technically, guys, I mean, it's an open book test at this point. I have no way of monitoring that you're being truthful and honest as you take this. And so this is how I've set it up for you. There are 20 questions. It's a mixture of matching, like your vocab terms that would normally be on your test. It's a combination of multiple choice, true or false, and a few open-ended short answers and an essay question. Okay? You only get one attempt to complete this, and so when you choose to take this test, you need to make sure that you have enough time to devote and you're not going to be distracted, and you can get it done in one sitting. You have a full 2 hours to complete it, which is way more time than it will actually take you to complete this test, but I didn't want anyone to feel panicked or rushed while you're working on it. But you do only get that one attempt, and so make sure that when you sit down, you are prepared. My suggestion for you is to review your lesson review questions from the sections that make up this test, to have your book and your workbook out and ready for you when you go to take this test, and go on and begin it. And if you have studied and learned the material up to this point, then it shouldn't be very hard for you, if you're stumped on a question, to locate in your text or in your lesson review questions the correct answer. So it's all about planning and being smart about using your time and knowing where these resources are. And I'm confident that if you have been working through all this material up to this point, that you will find this test to be pretty straightforward and easy. I will make the note that if it does give you, this is new to me, so I'm not entirely sure yet how this is going to work, but if it gives you a grade at the end of your test and it's a grade that you think is way too low, don't panic. The open-ended questions I have to grade manually, so it may grade your matching and true or false as either right or wrong, because those are easy, but I need to manually read your responses for the other questions. Therefore, it will not be grading those, and so your grade is not accurate. So only go by the grade that I post on ClassReach when I get to finish grading these. All right? And that will be available until Sunday, May 3rd. I only left it open that way just so that, you know, everyone has a chance to get it done. My suggestion to you at this point is to prepare, and when you are ready, complete this as soon as possible, because we are going to be starting new material, and I think it's just going to confuse you if you're starting new material and you're also still trying to juggle this older material. So my suggestion is, when you have an hour or two to spare, to sit down and get this done, and then we can move on and you can start fresh with the next section. All right, guys, that's the end of my video. I will see you for our next video on Monday.